Howdy friends and lovers, Amitabh here. That's right, your faithful internet superhero, Super Amitabh. Or Super Ami, whatever. I don't have my cape on, I apologize for that. So today, I just wanted to talk about your light currency and tell you what your real energy currency is and how you really sustain your life. How you detoxify and how you can cure any disease through knowing how your body actually functions at the most fundamental level of energy. Everything is energy. Everybody talks about this. Everybody talks about everything is energy. And a lot of people in spirituality talk about this. They don't really apply it to the food we eat. And as we know, if we want to be more peaceful, we have to get to the more subtle levels of the mind. We have to quiet our mind down from the gross, heavy, dense, discursive 70,000 thoughts a day to maybe a few thoughts, hopefully no thoughts. And you can get to this level of no thoughts, and when you do, that's when you really reach your nature, and you really start to expand your energy and start to heal on this deeper level. And it's the same way, it's the same way with your food. We got to think about it as if we have to manage our thoughts and watch our thoughts in order to be peaceful. We have a lot of discursive thoughts, a lot of thoughts that are heavy, attachment thoughts, and aversion, pushing away with a lot of force. It's the same way with our food. We want to have light, easy to digest foods. We want light, energetic foods. Foods that give us energy. And foods that give us light. And light, I want to tell you, is your currency. But it says love and light. It doesn't just apply to the spiritual realm. That you are love and light in your nature. Everybody, can understand, a baby is full of love. And the baby is happy most of the time, except for when it needs to eat or take a two and something, number one or two, whatever. It doesn't, has having a hard time pooing or something like that, and it gets a little grumpy. But other than that, toddlers, kids, most of the time, until they learn and they're conditioned that, me and mine and I are virtually happy, 98% of the time, and that's the way we're supposed to be, is happy most of the time, and really all the time, because even the child is still divorced from oneness. It's already bought into form at some level, and so as we know how to deal with our mind, if we practice meditation, and we always really try to release our sense of self and merge with the one through absorption, whether that's a mantra, focusing on your breathing. I highly recommend Vipassana meditation. Health is the same way. We want to absorb and we want to be as close to the one as possible. And we all know that everything is energy, everything is waves of energy. And even the particles are really waves, and then they collapse into particles through observation. So, if we want to be as close to the one, be as connected as possible, as tuned into our spirit and the divine intelligence that pervades all matter and all life, and be connected with our higher self or whatever, what we really want to do is eat as close to light as possible, because all energy in our solar system for food comes from, sorry my battery's dying, comes from light. The sun comes to the earth and then it's transformed along with the minerals of the earth. It's transformed into carbohydrates, into chlorophyll and amino acids. It all comes from the sun. Without the sun, you can't have it. I mean, you can have earth, you can have all these minerals, and nothing will happen without the light. And so light is your currency. Light is your, it gives you the ability to move, because as we know, the earth, like we said, I mean, it can have minerals and it can have all these, rocks, but there's no movement without light. The water wouldn't move without light, because there has to be evaporation and condensation, and then dissolution of that heaviness, and it just keeps flowing, Everything needs to flow. In order for movement, there has to be light. In order for you to see, there has to be light. And the atmosphere wouldn't be the same without light. Oxygen wouldn't be created, because oxygen requires plant life, which requires light. And so our currency in our body, we all think it's energy, but I want to tell you that energy is all light. And if you really want to get down to it, it's all vibration. Light is a vibration. Sound is a vibration. And we're created by sound and light, but it's really vibration. And so we want the highest vibrating foods in our bodies as possible. And that comes from fresh fruits and vegetables. And to a lesser extent, nuts and seeds. Because those are more denser, heavier, lower vibrating foods. However, 1 billion trillion times higher vibrating than animal flesh. Because when you eat it, you cook it, and it's dead. You don't eat raw cow, And even if you already did, it has already gone through this process of creating itself from light into a gross, heavy, dense, thinking vehicle, and a vessel for spirit. We want to get as close to spirit. We want to eat spirit, eat your spirit. And that comes from eating fruits and vegetables, eating green, leafy vegetables, because greens, as we know, what part of the plant absorbs the most light, and how is it transformed into the fruit? It's from the leaves. The leaves, the green is the chlorophyll, and that's the magic particle for creating health in our body. Chlorophyll and the living waters in the plant. And so if we really want to be healthy, if we really want to reverse all diseases, what we really want to do is get light into our body. And so really consider, what am I eating, and does it contain any light? Fresh fruits and vegetables, that fruit was produced by light absorbing into the leaves, turning into chlorophyll, turning into glucose and amino acids, and then it absorbs up into the fruit, and that's why it's so good for it, because it's concentrated light. That's hours and hours and months of light shining onto that plant, shining onto those greens, and being absorbed and transformed into energy into a currency for your body. So the cells, it has been found that our cells actually communicate with something called biophotons. And biophotons are light, particles of light, waves of light, and they transmit energy throughout our body and information. So, if you hit your toe, that information, it doesn't go through the bloodstream, it doesn't go through the nervous system per se. To some extent it does. Really, it transfers faster even than the speed of light. It transfers at the speed of consciousness. But light is your real, consciousness is the fastest currency. Light is a little bit slower. The nervous system's a little bit slower. Then your blood system's even slower. So there are stages of energy information transmission. Consciousness is first. Until you become, fully one, which you can't be in this body. You can't be fully realized in this body. It's impossible. Even the Buddha didn't enter into final enlightenment until he left the body. Even the Buddha died from a mushroom, and some people believe it was pork. But if you look at the real wording, it shows that it was a mushroom. Even if it was pork. The Buddha, the enlightened one, the awakened one, that's what his name stands for, and 99% of the spiritual teaching that we listen to comes from Buddhism, and nobody realizes it, died even though he was enlightened, he died from food. So you are what you eat, and if it was pork or mushroom, it doesn't matter. It's still, the food creates your body, and the food can kill you. But if you eat the proper food, it can also give you life and abundant energy and vitality. So what you really want to do is get as much greens, because those are the receivers of light, the little hands catching light from the sun, grabbing light all the time. They're not moving, but metaphorically, they're grabbing light all the time and taking it and making fruit out of it for you to eat. So that's why you want those receivers, because those receivers were the first things to come out of the plant. You had the seed, the potential for life, and then the first things that come out are the receivers for light. So you want to get so much light into your body, you eat greens. You eat kale. You eat romaine lettuce. You eat spinach. Tons of it. Eat it till the cows come home. How do gorillas and cows and elephants and giraffes and buffaloes get so big? They get it from eating only greens in nature. I mean, the gorillas eat greens and some bamboo for fiber or whatever. There's fiber in greens also, though. So you can get everything you need from greens. You can get everything you need from fruits and vegetables. You certainly don't need animal products, because they got their energy from somewhere, and they got it from greens. So if you want to be healthy, if you want to have a vibrant skin tone and a vibrant energy and mood and sense of well-being and health and vitality, you want to eat the closest to light as possible. If you could take a spoon of the sun and eat it, I would say do that, but you can't. You can do some sun gazing, and that's a good idea. But eat your greens, eat your light, and I guarantee you it'll transform your life. Drink lots of water and eat your light, eat your fruits and vegetables raw, and stay away from those denser, heavier, lower vibration foods, and your body will ascend. Ascension is not something that's going to happen. Ascension is not all of a sudden people are believing in this rapture ascension, that it's going to happen one day. I don't got to do anything for it. I can just eat what I want. As long as I think positive, then I'll just ascend. And this is really nothing more than a rapture idea. We have to ascend ourselves. The Buddha says, your salvation is in your own hands. And this is true. You have to save yourself. If not, we're going to continue on the cycle of rebirth and death and suffering. And everybody in spirituality, the real goal is to end suffering. It's not to learn how to do energy healing. It's not to be psychic. It's to end your own suffering. And if you really want to do that, you really got to discover how we can move towards those things and move away from the things that are keeping us that way. Heavy, dense thoughts, incessant thinking, obsessive thinking, and heavy, dense foods. We want light thoughts, happy, positive thoughts, of course. Few of them, though. And just a being. We want to be like nature. We want to discover our nature. We want to be like nature. And what do trees do? Trees aren't walking around and doing all this stuff. They're just being. And the thing is, you can do and be at the same time. It's a little bit more challenging than sitting on a cushion and meditating and trying to be. But that's what the practice is really for. You sit and meditate so that when you walk through this world, you can bring some of that being that you touch through your meditation. And when you eat your food, that has a purpose too. That's so when you walk, you have energy, and you have light, and you have positive vibrancy. So eat your light, eat your enlightenment, and light will enlighten your body. Your food has the ability to illuminate and enlighten your body. We want to be luminous, iridescent beings of light, because that's what we are in our nature. We're vibration. So if we eat things that are vibrating slower or we're going to get dense, we're going to get the negative thoughts, we're going to get the depression and the disease. These are all symptoms of lower vibration activity. So, I love you, and I hope this information hasn't been too tedious and rambling on like I tend to do.